Hello fellers. How are you doing? John Marston is one of the most successfully written Rockstar protagonists. I especially like his heterogeneous personality. He's smart, but not a genius. He's stern, but also comic. He struggles between his past self and the path he'd followed for many years. Despite knowing it was wrong and having accepted his new self, he still has to deal with it. A character that commands respect and sympathy. A character which is so well written that you get devastated by his demise even if it's all fictional, the incarnation of the dying Wild West itself. And then, we have this abomination. Before continuing, I want to thank Jhonny Boy for inspiring the video along with the Mad Titan. And, if you want to see a different point of view, there's always this video made by Waxy. I still have to watch it in order not to get influenced and risk saying the same things. Anyway, if you really want to investigate these topics, check Jhonny Boy's channel. He made a great job pointing out Rockstar's nonsense. Moreover, the community is full of people complaining about it. So, let's start from the most noticeable aspect, the appearance. It's not a secret that John has been completely distorted. The build isn't right, the face isn't right, heck even the hair have the wrong color. It's all wrong. They basically reused Arthur's model and changed the texture. I'm not gonna dwell on all the other differences, like the walking and aiming animation, the clothes and so on, but you have to know that in the beta version of RDR 2, everything was much more like the original game, which makes this even less reasonable. I especially want to focus on how much they're ruined his personality. I'm not criticizing 1899 John, aka Rip Van Winkle, because, you know, he was 26 and the game shows an actual progress, from being a dumbass to taking on his responsibilities as a father. The problem comes in the epilogue. You might think that, since 8 years have passed since the last goodbye to Arthur, John had learned something from him, but it's not so. We see that he can't get away from trouble, since he killed a random guy in Roanoke and was forced to escape, even though John claims he was a thief, so it could have just been self-defense. Anyway, this is not the main problem. For example, I don't think John was absolutely wrong in attacking the Hanging Dog Ranch, not only because it was an order from Mr. Geddes himself, but because otherwise they would have probably caused much more trouble and possibly killed other farmhands, Abigail and Jack included. The real problem is another one. Listen what he says here.
Where's Jack?
Shoveling shit in pursuit of the better life you want. Same as I've been.
Won't do him no harm.
I know.
What? You ungrateful piece of shit. So, let me get this straight. Not only you forgot that you managed to save your ass after a life of crime, still miraculously avoiding jail, but you are literally spitting on your best friend's last desire, which was making you have a normal life. You must be brain dead or something, you idiot. And, if you think this is the worst part, you didn't see anything. Watch this comparison.
I look at Jack. I look at him and I think we've been blessed. Maybe he can be something more.
He's a good kid. He can be whatever he wants to be. He ain't gonna be no frontier gunslinger killing and running no gang, though. That way's over.
And I never got killed. It's hunting down fools for the government. Easy. Even Jack could do it.
Don't you put those stupid ideas in the boy's head. He's gonna do something better than this.
Like what? Writing silly stories?
How in the actual heck could John say something like this? I bet not even Dutch would have been proud of Jack if he became like them, but for epilogue John it seems that being a murderer and a thief is more respectable than being a writer. Or maybe I should call him two non-synaptically connected neurons John. You see, that's the real matter. Epilogue John is literally an impulsive idiot. He doesn't have a crumb of the charm and authority he shows in the first game. He's treated like a moron by everyone, Uncle, even if it's not surprising, Abigail and Sadie. He seems like a puppet at the mercy of events, like an immature person who never managed to leave his childish part behind. For example, the choice of buying the land and building a house is made just to make Abigail happy. John didn't have any clue of what he was doing apart trying to make her return. Heck, he even thought that shitty home was enough and he needed Uncle to make him understand that maybe it wasn't. In RDR 1, instead, John seems to be entirely focused on his ranch. He even starts business partnerships right after getting back home. He manages the cattle and pretty much everything there. How did he gain such a level of responsibility in 4 years? You could argue that the epilogue is purposely made to show his maturation, but this is most likely just an excuse. John seems to be the same from 1899 to 1907, while in the next 4 years he's become smarter, more responsible, much less prone to violence and to revenge, but we'll talk about this in a minute. As many others said, probably the main reason of this personality switch is due to Arthur. They tried to make the second protagonist weaker in order to make Arthur stand out, but this was not necessary because Arthur is already an amazing character. I also came up with the idea, but it's only an inference, that they made John even more stupid after adding Sadie, so they'd show her strength and superiority over men. If you think about it, John's relationship with Charles is much more mutually respectful, while Sadie acts like an employer and puts John in danger whenever she has the chance. Speaking about this, the bounties are something that RDR1 John would probably never have taken in consideration. I know that you can be a bounty hunter in the first game, but all those missions are either optional, so their canonicity isn't proven, or are literally mandatory for John if he wants to see his family again. Last but not least, revenge. This is the lowest point of John's character in RDR2. The OG John Marston would have never risked putting his and his family's life in danger for revenge. Everything John does, in the first game, he does it just for his family. There are no ulterior motives. He doesn't like what he's doing and he tries many times to quit, even by threatening that Snake Ross. We aren't talking about an oversight. This is a deliberate, unmotivated, stupid choice. It's a disrespectful fuck you to one of the characters that made Rockstar's story, and that's why we should and are legitimated to be angry about it.
You want me to take out a gun and blow a fucking hole in your head right here? Right now? You want that?
Don't get me wrong, RDR2 and RDR1 are both fantastic games, but RDR2 could have been much better in many ways, and it's right to point it out. Pretty much like Garma, the epilogue is a sour note in a perfect symphony. It has extremely good moments, but they don't erase the mess that hides below them. We could talk about this for ages. Think about Uncle, for example, another character that got completely twisted, who passed from being a comic relief to a grumpy, disillusioned old man. Again, don't get me wrong, I love RDR2 Uncle, and honestly I think there could have been a way to preserve his funny personality and at the same time nod it to his original self, but the writers just didn't seem to bother about it and left everything off screen. This could be said about many things that don't square in the epilogue, but they can be the material for another video. So, what do you think about this? Write your opinion below and please let me know if I've had any oversights. Okay, it's time to go now. Goodbye.